Yeah.
He's like, no, I'm just adjusting the pawn.
Yeah, let me go knight f3, g3.
Yep. that is vintage Bassem. E4, D3, G3. Make everything a King's Indian attack, and he's incredible at those positions.
Yeah. I've seen him grind those out in the German Bundesliga for years.
Yeah. That and the Briar were the black pieces.
Yeah. Magnus, studying the score sheet, looks deeply unimpressed as usual.
Okay, moves are coming in. Let's go to the board so that we can follow this.
I'm actually curious. How did they get this? I was another one of those Scheveningens without knight on f6. Probably some
it's the
G4
second one today.
Yeah, G4 is there.
Okay.
Always mysterious to me, this G4 with knight still on G8, but computers like it in every position. So they were onto something, Karpov and Kasparov. Knights are exchanged, and now E5, queen back to D1 to cover G4, and we should have our position. Actually, that makes queen D2 less attractive, no? Because you just played queen D1, then after bishop E6, you probably don't want to play queen D2.
And that's exactly what I was saying about the data, right? If you didn't know this, queen D2 actually was a candidate move, and now I don't think any of them are taking queen D2 seriously. Maybe queen E2, but knowing the moves that were played makes you look at the position differently.
For sure. Let's just hope it's not 95, rook c8, c3, bishop h4, bishop b6, queen g5, bishop e3, draw, which is a very, very logical sequence of moves, actually.
That's the thing. We've actually called a lot of the sequences thus far, just because it's, as you said, it's logical and it's plausible that this happens. And I'm curious how long the players spend on the first move, because in a over the board classical game, like at the candidates, if this position happened, again, you could see 15, 20 minutes being spent. Here, it's a rapid game. You want to keep some time on your clock.
I think they have different approaches, or I could be wrong, but in general, Magnus, I think he likes to spend a couple minutes in the early middle game when he's out of book, which is probably the case here. While Hikaru likes to put the pressure on. Hikaru goes 95 very, very quickly. Wouldn't be surprised if Magnus takes his time already.
Yeah, but I can also see bishop takes d5. At least that would be my automatic reaction. Rook c8 is such a classy move, just saying, no, this knight is not the end of the world.
Those are the only two sensible moves, because bishop b6, knight c7 is a big threat. Mm-hmm. So there is a choice.
Can we talk about this bishop d5, queen d5, knight f6 idea? Would you take b7? Oh, never mind. Rook c8 has been played.
Yeah, rook c8 played.
Rook c8 has been played by... Yeah. Yep. Never mind.
Didn't take him very long either, so I was wrong. He would take his time. Maybe to his mind, it's just the only good move. Bishop d5, queen d5 looks ugly. So gotta play rook c8 and see what happens.
So knight e7 doesn't seem to make a lot of sense because you're helping black develop. Yeah. C3 played.
C3 played.
Jan.
Opens the door. Bishop h4,
the door
bishop
is
b6.
open.
Queen g5.
Door has been opened.
Uh-oh. And it might also be best play. Can black actually deviate? What could he do? Like bishop
knight
d5,
f6?
you probably still don't want. Knight f6, what's going on then?
Yeah, actually knight f6 I'm pretty partial to.
Yeah, that looks all right.
Yeah, but just all right, because you're also walking into like g5, and you're walking into like knight takes f6. No, I mean, bishop takes h4 makes a lot of sense. And then, of course, Hikaru could try to play a quiet move like queen d2, but then you're much worse. He actually has played knight f6, though. It's just Magnus's credit. Keeping some life alive. I like it. Thank you.
Magnus came to play. Now what does white do? My first instinct would be to take on e7, queen takes, and then bishop f3 to prepare g5. But it's a somewhat passive bishop, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, and then maybe I could even get away with, in some positions, d5. At least I would think about it.
Yeah, I was wondering. Yeah.
And then it gets very tactical. Very, very tactical. Yeah, we can dive in. Knight takes c7, queen takes c7, bishop f3. And
Because if g5 directly, knight g4 is annoying, so I thought we should prepare it. Yeah, bishop f3.
And I'm not sold on d5 at all, by the way. I mean, there's other moves. There's bishop c4, but d5, yeah, I guess it just doesn't work. E takes d5. Rook d8, there's c4. For starters, maybe even queen a4 check. Yeah, it's too early for something like this, but let's see what Hikaru decides, because he could also take on f6 and then play a move like queen to d2. And apparently they're still following the original game. This is actually what happened in Karpov Kasparov.
Yeah, where knight takes e7 was indeed played. Maybe. Mm-hmm. We know Magnus is a chess history buff. Hikaru will probably tell you he's not, but he's probably also seen his fair share of Karpov Kasparov games. Maybe they're just in book.
Yeah, they're still in theory. And in the game, I'll show the moves that knight e7, queen e7 was played, and then g5 was played, which led to a trade. And as you said, yeah, knight got to g4, and black was fine. On the better side of fine, actually. So let's see what happens. On the other board, also knight d5, rook c8.
Yep, Vishy took a moment to play rook c8, but he did come up with it as well. I pulled up the original game here. Let's see if they follow it. And yeah, Hikaru does play knight takes e7.
Mm-hmm.
Queen takes, I guess, is not forced, but king e7 looks a bit extreme.
I think I know some people who might take that move seriously. It reminds, of course, the famous example of Karpov-Kamsky in terms of random king moves in the opening that are actually very strong. But yeah, queen e7. He's done it! King e7 on the board.
Oh!
Look at the man go. And g5 instantly. Hikaru is like, yeah, I totally expected that.
Wow. What's going on now? This is a mess. G5, knight g4, bishop c1. What's the king doing on e7?
How about knight g4, king e2 to support the bishop? And at this point, I'm only half joking. Okay,
no bonk clouds. No bonk clouds allowed.
Okay, so knight g4. And what's going on? It's on the board.
I don't like this king e7 move. What are you doing, Magnus?
Yeah, just like... But what would be your move here with white? Like queen d2?
Bishop c1. Bishop c1.
Oh, bishop c1. Sorry.
Yeah. Keep those bishops.
Yeah, why not? And if I go Chipolito?
Yeah, no. Queen e2, I guess I can do.
Yeah, no bishop c4 because that drops the knight. And if I go h5 and dilly-dally...
Yeah, h5, f3, bishop c4,
resigns.
queen d2. And it's trapped.
And if you play hg, which piece do you take with? Do you take with the bishop and go back to c1?
Do I have to take it all is another question. I can also play f3 maybe.
Rook takes h4.
F3.
Oh, no, it doesn't work. Bishop g5.
No.
Check. Okay, let's see what happens. Bishop c1 on the board. Good call.
Yeah. What are you doing, Magnus? King e7.
There's no reason to dig yourself into that. I mean, now he has to be perfect, and if he is, hats off. But man, Magnus is a brave man for doing that. H takes g5 on the board. He has not blundered his queen. But f3, you see the blue arrow. Apparently the best move. Kick the knight away first. It makes sense. It makes sense.
Uh-huh. And if the knight goes to f6, then maybe take with the bishop on g5, and then white can just start stabilizing with his pair of bishops.
Actually, I think that's a game changer. If Hikaru takes on g5 immediately, black plays f6, and white has to lose a tempo, and then you can go queen b6, and you're fine. If you push the knight away first, black's position honestly looks kind of awful there. Again, the king safety, it's going to be a problem for essentially as long as the queens stay on the board. I mean, you're probably still fine objectively, but this is not what you want to have in rapid against Hikaru. If he finds f3, and he will.
Even objectively, I'm not sure. Why wouldn't white be just better here? With the Bishop's king in the center. Magnus playing with fire. But you gotta give him credit, even if we don't like this king e7 move. It feels like not only does he want to win, but he also does want things to be entertaining. Like he went for knight f6, not allowing this bishop h4, queen g5 draw, and now king takes e7. So he's bringing it, but this could easily backfire.
I think it's one of the good byproducts of the top players being a little bit more plugged into online chess. They understand that there's fans watching. People who could be doing other things on a Saturday morning. Like I actually don't know anything you should be doing on a Saturday morning. You should be watching chess.
You could sleep. Yeah.
You could sleep. That is an option. You could be having brunch, but watching some chess being played between Hikaru and Magnus is a good alternative. And I appreciate when they try to spice things up. But has he gone too far?
Absolutely. In the other game, by the way, Anand has chosen bishop takes h4, which might objectively be the best choice, but it invites this move repetition with bishop b6, queen g5, bishop e3.
It doesn't just, I think it invites it and makes it mandatory. It's like, you must attend this party. You are invited to it, and you may not turn this down. This is like your mom's birthday party. It's like, you got to go. Sorry.
It's not a voluntary party. Yeah, this might be over soon. So once again, as you mentioned, with these players being... Oh, bishop f3 played.
Whoa.
Similar idea, but
Hello.
less forcing. Because now the knight can stay on g4 with queen d7. Yeah. That's the difference.
What's that all about? Queen d7. Actually, queen d7 is a very easy move to miss. It's just one of those small moves. And it coordinates the rooks. What you doing, boy? Queen d7, bishop g5, f6.
That's gonna happen. Yeah, this looks much more harmonious for black already.
This looks losing for white, maybe? Like, I don't know. Rook h5 and rook h8. I'm trying to find a powerful move here.
Yeah, rook h7 or rook h5. Some doubling. Looks very inviting.
Rook h7, rook h8 going after this pawn. The problem is that rook g1 always rook takes h4. Can I try h5?
Still rook h8, then rook g1 is your point, yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe you were right all along. Maybe rook h5 to stop h5.
But can black take and go rook h1?
Oof.
And then does white have king to d2? Takes, and f3. And queen d7 has been played, by the way, in the meantime.
Yeah. And
now rook h4, maybe sacking a bishop. I mean, we're going down the rabbit hole. Let me go back to the live position, but this is not unlikely. I mean, do you have a move other than bishop takes g5 at this point? Rook g1 is technically possible.
Yeah, rook g1 is there. What's going on then? Can we play
rook, and he's played it.
Uh-huh.
Knight h2. I was going to point this out. Oh, knight h2 is really powerful.
Looks very
Why is
tempting,
it so powerful?
if it works.
It's powerful because after knight h2 takes f6, let's say the bishop drops back. Why is this so bad for white?
Is it so bad?
Like takes.
Like black is fine. Takes king f7 or whatever, but not.
Yeah. Apparently there's a big move here.
There's something big here.
I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't. I refuse to turn the engine on.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Except we've already gotten there because this is on the board.
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah, rook cg8. Oh, and the reason is you leave the f7 square for the bishop, and I'll show this when we get to the position.
Okay. So after h5, you can go take some bishop f7, and white can't castle. Uh-huh.
Yep. Bishop e3 played. Magnus is going to take the bishop. This all makes sense. I mean, knight h2 is a cool move, but it's a sensible move. But rook g8 is hard. I mean, king f7 is like what your hand wants to play.
Yep.
Something tells me Bassem Amin will spend all of his time and go for the repetition.
That's normally what happens. Like you calculate a bunch of things, and you look at the clock. Oh, 2 minutes left. Okay, let's repeat moves. Like,
dude, Magnus he started with rook g8. That's genius. He's like, guess what? My knight on h2, safest piece on the board.
Yeah. To punish that, white would have to go bishop e2, but then rook takes h4, and the knight escapes via g4 if it needs to.
Dude, that right there. And
well.
how many people don't, like, I automatically capture on f3, probably even in a classical game. You just do it. Like, you have a knight on h2, you can take a bishop, you do it. No. Rook g8, he realizes that he's got this off-ramp when he wants to do it. Hikaru doesn't have the time to save his bishop. This move order is a lot more venomous. And if white plays h5, I'm going to put this on the board. Now, Jan, I think takes, and bishop f7 is...
This bishop f7 is nasty.
Devastating. Rook h1. And now a lot of options, I think.
Yeah, already.
Queen e8.
White lost a bit of coordination. Queen e8, queen b5. There's all kinds of annoying moves.
And now you actually can't... Well, clearly you can't take because for starters, there's... No, actually not rook takes h6 because f6 will hang. Oh, bishop h5. Same idea. Better execution. Beautiful. Bang, bang. And then take the rook. That is gorgeous. That is gorgeous. h5 played. Let's go.
Okay, now he more or less has to take. Now you really don't want to wait for bishop e2 without the h rook helping. Oh yeah, takes him bishop f7 is quite logical.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, Magnus is thinking, but why at this point, there's no reason to delay any further. He will take. Yeah. Bassem and Vichy have repeated once.
Yeah.
Okay. Trade has happened.
Bishop f7 happening too. Not yet.
I think the big moment will be bishop f7, rook h1. Can Magnus spot this tactic with queen e8, h6, gh? Because even queen e8 is a very hard move to see. I mean, it's a retreating move to the back rank. It's always the small moves that are the hardest moves to see. These queen d7, d8, these types of retreating moves can be blind spots.
Yeah, my money's on Magnus. He got this far. Now he's got to target that pawn.
You know what Bassem is doing? Taking his time. It's admirable. It reminds me of what I used to do when I got a draw from a higher rated player and I wanted to take it, but I knew my coach would get mad.
Yeah.
So you
think
sit.
For half an hour. Yeah, sorry, I had 5 minutes left. Yeah.
Listen, I was in time pressure, and then you fabricate some lines that you were calculating. Even though you're going to take the draw. Listen, I had 2 minutes on my clock for 10 moves, and I really wanted to play on. I'm a fighter, I promise, but time pressure, you know how it is. Had to take the draw.
Yeah. I've done that many a time.
It's a classic.
Which is why I'm in favor of getting rid of draw offers. So at least we can't drive ourselves insane with making up lines why we have to take draws. You have to think about the moves.
Okay, a different move by Carlsen, but I also really like this move.
Yeah.
Great move.
Also looked very tempting, hitting b2, eyeing the d3 square. I was wondering if white can castle queenside here. Or if then just bishop a2 and bishop b3, queen a4. Black is too fast. I wasn't sure.
This position is a great illustration that opposite colored bishops in the middle game are a totally different kettle of fish from opposite colored bishops in the end game. Here, it favors the attacker, and if the queens get swapped with the rooks on the board, it would still be great winning chances for black. But when you have a weak square complex like this, it's hard to keep all the entry points sealed off.
You're a piece down on the light squares. So So it would be nice for white to go b3 and c4 to cover those with pawns, but does he have time for that? It's b3, there's queen d3. Probably doesn't
Ugh.
know.
And then bishop f7 could come at the most inopportune moment for white.
Yep.
I mean, we're used to Hikaru pulling off the magic in any position, but this is looking more and more miserable. Wow, bishop f3 was the source of great anguish.
Yeah,
By the
that
way,
was a big one.
Bassem and Vichy are about to make the draw. They just shook hands.
Yeah, there they go. No surprises.
Yeah.
And you can't really blame them. They got the position, they played the best moves, it ended in a draw.
Yeah.
But that makes it more impressive that, Magnus finds a way to make the game a mess even from this one.
That should be an Onion headline. 2 grandmasters penalized for playing perfect game and making a draw. It happens.
Grandmaster's too good at chess.
There was no ill intent.
Nope. Hikaru taking his time here down to, what is this, 6 minutes 40? Not desperate time trouble for the likes of Hikaru and Magnus. Generally, there's no desperate time trouble when these guys have 10 seconds per move. They are still capable of playing great chess.
Oh, yeah.
But still, it does matter.
5 seconds for 10 moves, no worries at all. But in the candidates, we did see the kind of time pressure you just don't see anymore with no increment until move 40. Man, did we get some juicy time scrambles.
Yeah, I love that format. Like, I grew up without increments. Even in Blitz, I always preferred 5-0 to 3-2.
Amen.
And in Classical, I never got it. Why not make it 2 hours or whatever for 40 moves? And if someone wants to have 5 seconds for 5 moves, let them. I mean, like, it's their choice. It's entertaining for everybody. So I don't know why we need this child protection of 30 seconds per move in Classical chess.
I don't know how to snap, but if I could, I'd be snapping right now. That's so true. It's more entertaining. And, listen, again, if you can't deal with 2 hours per game and you're going to get yourself to 10 seconds for 5 moves, sorry. I mean, tough luck. That's part of the game. But I'm a big fan. I really liked the candidate time control in general. I thought that was really good compromise.
No, because it makes sense to have increment later. Like, you don't want to have people getting flagged in some rook end game on move 72. There, I'm very fine with them getting it. But to have one proper time control to move 40, I'm a fan, and I hope that I think the trend is a bit towards that direction, not just with the candidates, but Norway chess. What's Norway chess nowadays? It's 2 hours for the entire game, like without increment. It's also somewhere going that direction. It's just much more fun.
I think now we need to tackle the 2 hours part and maybe turn the hours
into 1 minute.
Minutes. To 2 minutes. Small change. Still, there's still a 2 there. It's funny that 2-minute chess has never taken off. Bishop c1 in the meantime. Hikaru's just immediately bishop f7. No, this is coming
C1
apart.
It's a tough move to make because now your king can no longer escape to c1. And queen e8 is still there if Magnus feels the need.
I mean, d5 would be my instinct, but also, queen c6 in d5 looks great.
So many choices already.
Do you want to know the top engine move? It's completely was not on my radar. G5.
Rook h7? G5 direction.
G5. Okay. It's actually a really cool move. Nice. I mean, what is the point? The point is if white takes en passant, the king side opens and you get mated. If you don't, then black plays g4 and separates the queen and the pawn. And then later plays g3 and you get mated.
Yeah, it looks very strong as well. If g5, h6, the bishop gets this g6 square. Shouldn't need it. Now it's so unpleasant. Once again, these dormant pieces on a1 and c1. I think Hikaru will look back at that bishop f3 moment and be very upset. He didn't spend more time there pushing the pawn.
He made the right move. It was just an extra letter, it was the right move without the B part, not the bishop part.
So close. Mr. Carlsen.
Now the vaunted conversion skills of Magnus will have to be on display.
The good news is he probably has some margin, even if he doesn't find g5. Like any of the moves you mentioned, queen c6, d5, queen e8, they all look nice.
Yep. Often choosing the option, the converting what is hard for many reasons, but one is like when you have 3 or 4 moves and you're trying to find the best one, and not only do you get into time pressure, but then you get like decision fatigue. And Queen A4, okay, I mean, I
Well,
can
he
get behind
chose
that
a
move.
different one.
He's sitting on the position.
What's the point? He wants Queen C2, or what's the idea of this move?
So what if I goes like Bishop E3? What is the? Yeah, Queen C2, I guess is his point.
Or Bishop E3, he just repeats once with Queen B5, Bishop C1, and then goes G5.
Made you think about it, milk some time off Hikaru's clock. Yeah.
No, but Queen C2 looks very pleasant.
Yeah, there's nothing worse when your opponent makes a move, you think he's got some nefarious intention, so you spend 20 minutes, and then it turns out that they were just trying to repeat the position.
Yeah, it does happen. Although Magnus usually not how he operates, I would guess.
It reminds me of a funny incident, and I love Vichy, and he's so classy, even when he's justifiably mad about something. There was a famous moment in the press conference of his World Championship match with Magnus when I think a reporter or journalist kept asking him, like, so in the critical moment of the game when you made a mistake, were you really just like sitting there calculating the variations? And Vichy responded, no, I was thinking what to eat tonight.
Yeah.
And it's like the most Vichy response ever. I love that moment.
They torture Vichy in these press conferences.
I know.
You can really
It's like,
get
dude, no, I was thinking about the string theory during the World Chess Championship match.
Yeah. I think that was also the debut for a lot of Norwegian media to start covering big chess events. And, well, obviously they weren't on Vichy's sides, but they also weren't really used to what to ask and what not to ask. So, yeah, I think he had a rough time there. But total gentleman, the legend, Vichy Anand.
Vicious. Yeah, Vichy's great. I've had the chance to commentate with him a few times, and I'm a fan. I'm a big fan, and these top guys make chess fun. And anybody who has the kind of class that Vichy does is a good force for chess. Queen E2 on the board. Okay.
The move you love to play, but gotta play something. And also, we shouldn't
still
forget this
repeat.
Hikaru. We've seen him defend any position on Earth. So, what does Black do? Bishop C4 looks tempting, but the bishop is also on F7, keeping an eye on the H5 pawn. It's doing its job already.
Mm-hmm. You can go Queen
Queen
B5 and
D8.
repeat.
It's possible. How bad is the endgame? It's pretty bad for white, yeah. Like Queen B5 takes an A4 or whatever. No, it looks terrible.
Bishop G6 came to mind because now the rook on H1 is no longer protected, but Bishop G6, maybe there's rook H4 holding everything together. Maybe then D5. Look at those double pins.
Whoa.
It's a cool line.
D5, B3, I don't know. It feels like it's getting messy.
Yeah. What Hikaru wants is to drag Magnus down to a time scramble. And so far, he's not doing a bad job of it. Now Magnus down to 5 minutes. He's got to make a choice. He's got to make a decision.
Yeah, one thing Hikaru almost never does is, even in these disgusting positions like the one he has, he doesn't beat himself. Like, he will make you beat him, find good moves to increase the pressure. And it's very, very hard to do against almost infinite resistance. Even for the very best players like Magnus, we've seen Hikaru defend so many positions. It's a very unique skill.
Yeah, it's there's nothing more frustrating than thinking you have a forced win. All chess principles seem to indicate that you have a forced win. Hikaru's king is like on H5 and there's no pieces around it, and you've got 6 pieces surrounding that king, and there's no mate. There's no forced win. And it's, it seems like magic, but it's just the product of the fighting spirit and, one of a kind view of the board and chess vision that these players have. Of course, Magnus does the same thing when he's defending and the shoe's on the other foot. Right now, he's down to 4 minutes. Maybe not too happy at Queen A4. It feels like that might have been a step in the wrong direction, Jan.
Yeah.
A little bit.
It felt slightly off topic, still keeping an edge. But maybe it's time. Oh no, D5. He doubles down.
Good man. I think that's a great move. I think that's the move that the position demanded, and it justifies Queen A4 because now E4 is hanging.
Huh? If ED Bishop D5, it's also awkward for white. The rook doesn't have an obvious square. Let's say rook G1. Ugh.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Ooh.
Bishop C4, rook D8. It's feeling very matey.
Yep.
2 minutes for Hikaru. B3 came to my mind and bishop A3 check, but that's just one check, and that endgame is dead loss. You're just dropping all the pawns in the world.
It's 2 pawns, yeah.
No, this is somehow when D5 was played, just looking at Hikaru's face, facial expressions, it's miserable.
He's not happy.
Yeah. Bishop F3 really screwed him over. I mean, if he had played pawn F3, white was very much in the driver's seat.
Very different game. Also, white position is much easier to play. Bishop G5, whatever. Queen D2. Put the king somewhere.
He trades rook
Bishop
H2.
F3. Ugh. Not pretty, but once again, he's not beating himself.
Yeah, and white only needs a few moves to resurrect him. Like bishop E3, if he can get that rook involved. Black's king is, let's not forget, still on E7. So Magnus has to be precise in this position. Queen C6, bishop F3, I showed with an arrow, I think is one way to try to set up a nice domination on the light squares. He's played it. There we go.
Also stopping B3 because C3 is hanging.
And rook H3 to stop bishop F3. Maybe then you go G5. F4, last ditch attempt by Hikaru to complicate the game. Here he goes. It's scary when Hikaru does it.
Yeah.
Bishop F3.
But the white king is so open.
Yeah.
Queen
and don't be
E3.
Yeah, I mean, even the king could actually slide out of the way to preempt f takes e5 because then a rook would come to e8. Yeah, Hikaru's nonplussed about this. Rook d8 also looks good. 1 minute now on his clock. He's not going to resign, though. There's still chess left to be played here.
So tough. Yeah, Queen E3 played. I was even wondering if rook takes H5. If there's already a way through. Rook H5, rook H5,
oh, yeah.
bishop H5, FE, Queen H1, King F2. And then something smart. It looks like this.
Rook G8 to G2, already jumping over the pawn.
That'd be nice, yeah.
Okay. Magnus is looking for the knockout. This is where Hikaru's bread is buttered sometimes. You're like, where's that forced win? It's got to be there. Where is it? Why is my clock ticking down? Why am I not winning anymore? Why am I losing all of a sudden? How is this happening? What's the meaning of life? Why does this happen every time against Hikaru? But Magnus, of course, I don't think is going to let any of this happen. King F7 is the best
end. Time here, 238. King F7 is the move, yeah? That's a nice one. Also,
King F7 is a brilliant move.
Checks, yeah. In the future. It's very classy. And hang on. No, he did take on H5. Yeah, we get this.
Queen h1, king f2, though. And what
Yeah.
now?
Still looks terrible, but how do you get the job done? King f2, and now queen h2, king e1, king f1, f5.
Ooh.
Oh no, he went rook e8. Huh?
Lovely. EF, king f7 would win. That is a Magnus move. That is just like the epitome of a Magnus move right there.
What's next? If king f2, then he wants king f7, yeah, and then to take on e5 with the rook. Then once all the attackers are there, the game will play itself. Yeah, Hikaru doesn't like it.
Yeah. It's over. Now it's over. And rook e8, right? That's the secret sauce. That's the moves we take for granted. When if you don't find a move like that, the game goes on. Anything can happen. Magnus.
Especially if you have an option like queen h1 check, which many people would probably play automatically, drag the king out. But no, take your time, invite everyone to the party. The fruit will ripen in its own accord.
20 seconds for Hikaru, but the time isn't even the problem here. It's the position. E6 might be tried, I think. But king f8 and it's over.
King f8, yeah.
There's no moves. There are no moves.
Queen
h3,
h3.
no. Queen g1, ugh.
Queen g1.
No.
King f7 anyway, no? And then bishop f4.
Queen e4. Queen e4, queen e3, rook e5.
Yeah.
Queen e3, rook e5 is nice, actually.
Yeah. It's painful. No, he goes bishop e3. But it's not even allowed to castle. Rook e5, the bishop on h5.
But
Comes
this
to
is...
d1 square. No castle allowed.
Queen e4, bishop g6. I mean, yeah. Goodbye.
Wow, this is reaching the point where I think I would win this, which normally means it's time to say goodbye.
Takes e3, maybe?
Yeah,
deserves consideration.
Move. Not forced. Queen d3. Not terrible either, but yeah. Rook e3 is pretty clean. And Hikaru does resign. What a titanic struggle. Magnus Carlsen wins.
Instead of bishop f3?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
The bishop on c1, you mean? Yeah, so
Yeah.
knight f6?
Yeah, knight f6, bishop g5, and then...
Yeah, but I mean, black should be better here with king f8 and knight h5, I thought. I mean, it's better than the game, obviously.
Yeah,
but
of course I'm completely fine. And the opponent f3 is good for me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's just...
Yeah,
It's an easier position for black. So maybe not better, but easier.
I think Hikaru drank the Kool-Aid there.